Hello and welcome to Financial Education for the Nation. My name's Warren Shute, and today you don't need to be Mr. Scrooge to secure your retirement planning.
This episode has been sponsored by Idealo, the price comparison website.
Okay, so what do I mean by that? You don't need to be Mr. Scrooge. A question that I get fairly often. I've got to be honest, I used to get it a lot more than I do currently, but a question I used to get fairly often is, hey, Warren, I don't want to live like a miser now just so I can secure my retirement. I may never make it. I want to live life for today rather than for the future. Now, my response to that typically was, hey, look, I don't want you to be a miser either. I just want you to be a conscious spender. Now, what on earth is a conscious spender? A conscious spender is almost like being frugal, but frugal's got such a negative connotation towards it. I just want you to be conscious of things you're spending your money on and prioritize your spending so that you are intentionally buying things that bring you happiness and fulfillment and not just spending on a marketer's whim. Being frugal is not bad. Okay, being frugal is not bad. Being frugal can give you lots of happiness in the future. You try and break that link between spending money and happiness. When the two are connected together, which they often are, you kind of run yourself in a vicious circle, because what you're trying to say is the only way I can get happiness is by spending money. And one day you may not have money to spend. Try and get yourself to be happy from within. So you're happy with what you've accomplished so far in your life or where you are today. And if you have nothing, and you are in a very difficult position, be thankful that you have recognized that. And remember, the past doesn't equal the future. So it's our decisions today that will dictate what your future looks like, not your conditions. There are lots of people who have come from very, very humble backgrounds. I grew up in a very modest background and have made the decision to take things seriously and make different decisions. The thing is, it doesn't happen overnight. And you must have patience. You must have time. Okay, you can want urgency and do it quicker, but you must have patience with yourself. But anyway, go back to frugality. Our dear friends Idealo, the price comparison website, ran a survey, did a bit of research, and they did some looking into what makes people frugal. And they say it's not just people who just compare prices on one thing or another, but they look at everything. They look at all their different things. So not only their utilities, their holidays, their shopping, they say grocery shopping, flights, food, electronic, clothes, utilities, mobile phone contracts. They looked at everything. Now I've got to say, I go into that group and I think, yeah, I'm frugal. I'm quite happy to say I'm frugal in that respect. I enjoy spending money. I give myself my wham, my allowance, and I spend that. But I'll still shop around and make sure I'm getting the best deal for it. If we have any work done, I'll generally get three quotes, and not always go with the cheapest one, I'll be honest, but I'll go with the one that makes the most sense to me logically, almost in my gut. But shopping around to me makes sense. It's just an obvious thing, and I've always done it. I can't think that I've never always done it, but I've always done it. I've kind of ingrained it in my children as well to shop around, use Idealo and have a look on there. About 86% of Brits will do this. They'll look around for deal, but that means there's about 14% that are not. They're not looking around for deals, for savings. Now, it could be one of two things. Their lives might be so busy and hectic they can't understand how to do that, how to fit it in. It could be that they're so wealthy that they don't care, they don't mind. Or it might be they're spending somebody else's money and they don't care, they don't mind. I'm not sure, but to me, it just kind of makes sense that you would shop around and just ensure you get the best deal. So the best deal is not always the lowest price, but the best deal for you, whether it's the convenience of the shops, you're shopping local to support your local economy, or whether you're buying something you've got an extended warranty on, you pay that a little bit more, but it's a better option for you, or you actually spend more on a product that you think is going to last you longer. I'm a big advocate of that. Pay for quality and buy something and buy less, but buy better quality of things. When we break it down to areas around the country, and this is what I found really interesting, broke it around geographically, the Geordies, who are probably the nicest group out of everyone in the UK. I don't know what you're from. I'm not a Geordie, so I can kind of say it, I guess. But if you've ever met a Geordie, they're normally super, super friendly and super, super kind. They're missing out the most. That kind of breaks my heart. So they're missing out the most. They're missing out. 22% of them don't shop around for things. I have no idea why it is, why they're not shopping around. They're just pleased to do business with the people that are in front of them, maybe. And the relationship is more important than the price. 1 in 5, so about 20% of Brits over 55 never consider price comparisons. So, 20% of over 55 don't. Now, I don't know why that is, because we often hear that it's the people retiring are on low incomes and they can't afford this, that, and the other. So why don't they use price comparisons? I wonder if it's because it's technology. But 55 is still young. My mum is in 80s and she uses an iPad and on Facebook and stuff. I'm not sure she would use a price comparison site though. So maybe the older generation, 55 is not old, I know that by a long shot. I'm nearly there. But perhaps it's a technology thing. I'm not sure. But hey, shout out to the youngsters. 90% of the under 24s always consider price comparisons. Now that's pretty awesome, because I think the millennials and the younger generation often get a bad stick about things, this, that, and the other. Not hardworking, this, that, and the. But to say to something that they are doing well, they're shopping around, they're doing price comparisons. So good shout out to you guys and keep it up. I've sort of ingrained in my children the use of IDELO from a young age to just make sure they're getting the right price on things. And the research shows that they're missing out on about £365 average saving if they don't compare prices with different retailers. That's on a TV. Average purchase price of £91 if they don't compare prices on laptops, and £65 if you don't compare prices on fridges. So, these figures in isolation are not going to create you a £1 million pension fund, but accumulation of them, living in this way consistently, they will. And one thing I have learned is it becomes your identity. So if you're careful with this level of money that you have, when you have this amount of money, you're careful with it too. And a good example I've got is I've come across people who have inherited money at a young age, so they've never had to sort of work for it, and they've never earned it, and they've never realised how hard it's come by, and they've actually lost it very quickly. And I've actually come across business owners who have sold their businesses for millions of pounds, and they're now actually broke. And it's heartbreaking. For me, it's heartbreaking because I kind of look at it twofold. One way that you say that you're never going to get that money again. I shouldn't say that because they might, but I can't see how they would if they treated money that way in the first place. But also of the millions of people around the world who would probably looked after that money. So, it is interesting. But life is short. So my outcome here isn't say to you, live like a miser, be uber sort of penny pinching and not spending any money. That's not fun for anyone. But spend consciously. Look at what you're buying, make sure it's what you want, and have a purpose behind it. And almost like respect money. When you respect money, you get money respecting you, and it does things for you. I want you to live comfortably now, but also through your retirement years. Okay, so not only just during your working life, there will come a stage where you will no longer be an employed or run your own business, and it's then we need this pot of money to last you through your retirement years. According to the Office of National Statistics, if you're working age, it does vary slightly, but let's say working age between say 35 and 55, something like that, 65 even. You've probably got about another 20 years actuarially life left. Now, that's averages. You may not be average. You may live a lot more than 20 years. I plan to live well into my hundreds. But, actuarially, that's a figure to go by. So if you retired at state retirement age, that's 20 years. So 67 through to 87. That's 20 years of being a penny thrift. And you wouldn't have had any exercise or lessons of doing that. You'd be forced on you, and that's when you notice things change. You put yourself under pressure financially and things are not nice. And 20 years is a long time, and it's going to be a slow, miserable 20 years if you haven't got enough money behind you to do the things you want. My outcome really is to say to you, hey, look, split your life up into chapters. In the money plan, I sort of speak about 3 distinct chapters. They're the big sort of sections of life: your childhood up till 21, your working life up until about sort of 66, and then your latter life through your retirement years. And your retirement years can be a long period of time, and you really want to make sure that you enjoy them, to have plans for them, create yourself a bucket list for them. So how do we get ahead with our retirement? What are some easy, quick wins? Now, the quick, easy win that Idealo came up with, which I absolutely loved and I've spoken about before, is they said that from their research, making packed lunches, only 46% of the people surveyed made a packed lunch when they went to work. Now, I appreciate you're working from home, most of you now at the moment. Some of you are back at work, but only 46% made packed lunches. That means a staggering 54% don't. 54% don't. So in other words, 54% are eating away at work. And they calculated that would be a whopping £1,300 a year. So £1,300 a year. That's a significant sum of money. But let me tell you this. If you put that £1,300 a year into a retirement account and you invested it into a global index fund, averaging about 8% return a year, and you left it there for 20 years, so let's say you're in your 40s now and you left it there until your 60s, you would have a staggering, I'll try and guess in your head how much it's going to be, £1,300 a year for 20 years. You'd have a staggering £77,000 additional pension. Now, I say additional because you're already going to have some kind of pension through your workplace, okay? This is on top of that, so it's extra money, extra bunts. That you can go and enjoy yourself with, okay, an extra £77,000. Now, if you just index those premiums, and what that means is just increase them each year, just by a little bit, just slight nudge, just increase them up a little bit each year, just like when you go and buy a coffee, it goes up 2 or 3, 4p, 5p, 50p, buy that roll, it's gone up another 10p or whatever. That's called inflation. Prices go up over time. If you increase that by inflation, or just increase it a little bit every year, that £1,300 a year saving goes to a staggering £96,500 of, again, additional pension. Additional pension. I kind of pause when I say that because I really want to make sure it hits home. From £1,300 a year of saving, 8%, just a global index fund, over 20 years, you're looking around about almost £100,000 of extra retirement fund when you get to your retirement after 20 years. Now, ask yourself this question. This is actually a similar question that I asked myself. So ask yourself this question. Would you buy the lunch every day if you knew it was going to cost you almost £100,000 over your working life? I don't know. Would you? Would you buy that lunch every day if you knew it was going to cost you £100,000 over your working life? Now, if you say you're going to, then that's fine. I'm not here to try and make you take decisions you don't want to do, but hey, boy, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. But lunches aren't everyone's thing. Some of you might say, I get free lunches at work and stuff. Hey, the lunch almost is like a metaphor. Substitute lunch for what your thing is, whether it's scratch cards, lattes, downloads. What's your thing? Everyone's got a thing. What is it? Is it you go to the pub, or you can go to the pub now, actually, in certain areas, certain tiers. Will you go to the pub every night? Were you going via that shop to buy yourself a new dress or new trousers, a new top every week? What's your thing? What's your spending thing? Most people have a thing that they spend on. And with the advent of the likes of Amazon and places like that, spending money online, particularly on Amazon, is so easy. It's click and it's gone. You don't even have to key your details in. They kindly save it for you. So we all have our thing. What is it? So what do I do? Well, with lunch, I do a thing called planned over. So my office is actually next to my house. So I actually come home for lunch. But what I do is I make planned overs. So I'll make a dinner in the evening, whatever my dinner might be, and I'll consciously, intentionally make enough for sometimes breakfast the next day and sometimes lunch, depending on what I'm cooking and what it's eating and stuff like that. So I'll just cook a little extra up. And then when I come home for lunch, it's nice and quick and easy. Pop it in the oven, put it on the hob or something, just heat it up, and then it's ready. What's the difference if you are working away from home? You cook your meal in the evening, you do whatever you do, you make a little extra. You cook yourself a chicken breast and jack potato or whatever, for example, and you cook yourself 2 chicken breasts. So you're going to take one into work the next day with a mixed salad or something like that. It's nice and easy. And this is a great time of year to be thinking about this, because January, most people set financial and health New Year's resolutions and goals. And this is a thing that you can do very, very simply to win at both games. So it wins at your financial game, and it also wins at your health game too. So, just remember, life isn't a continuum. It's about having fun and enjoying it. And I'm all over that, okay? But it's about having fun and enjoying it both now, present, and over the rest of your working life, which you can foresee, and through your retirement years. Just want you to sort of look at your retirement years as that golden opportunity for you to say, hey, I want to take that cruise. I want to go and visit this place, that place. I have many, many goals for my retirement years. I would like to go to every country that is safe, deemed safe. I have certain criteria that I'd like to go. I don't really have any aspirations to go to countries that aren't safe. That's just my rule set. And I'd also like to visit every state in the United States as well. So these are the sort of things that I put together to try and sort of rationalize and make myself understand that, okay, this is why I'm saving for my retirement years. Okay, so that's enough on the miser and frugality and conscious spending. But remember, just have consciousness around what you spend. Big save this week. 5 things that I think you can do. 5 easy wins to save for your retirement. Do these and boost your retirement contributions. That's the key, right? Save the money, do something with it. Boost your retirement savings. Don't just save the money and leave it in the bank, or save the money and spend it on something else. Don't pack lunches in and then spend it on something else, because that's kind of like almost defeating the object. Make the saving, and at the same time, make that contribution, because you were going to spend it on sandwiches or a roll anyway, so why don't you just increase it on your pension fund? Okay, so do it identically at the same time. So you decide, okay, as of this month, I'm no longer going to buy packed lunches. I'm averaging £100 a month on packed lunches. I'm now going to increase my pension contribution from the 1st of January, for example, to increase my pension. Okay, so 5 things you can do. Supermarket shopping. So shop with a list. I always shop with a list. Shop with a list because it's more efficient. You can get around the supermarket quicker. We often do it online, but shop with a list. You know what you want to buy. You can tick, 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 tick. It's done. But also buy own brand goods. Okay, buy own brand goods. Just buy the own brand goods. See what they're like. Try them out. They're often so much less expensive, and a lot of the time they're as good. They're as tasty. I do respect sometimes you can't substitute in whatever your thing is, whether it's Heinz baked beans or HP ketchup. I don't know what your thing is, but some of the times you can't swap them out. Hey, don't swap them out. But if you can swap them out, swap them out. Just save. And it's incremental savings. You're not going to make a millionaire out of buying own brand baked beans rather than Heinz, okay? But that combined with some shampoo products, that combined with some, something else, you just group all these together. But then save the difference. When you look at your shopping bill, you think, okay, I've saved by doing this, I've saved X amount of money. Save the difference. Okay, and also don't be afraid to shop with coupons as well. Make sure you get the most out of it. The second thing I've got is this is a given really, and everyone speaks about it all the time, but I just want to, it would be foolish not to reiterate it. Your utilities, make sure you review them every single year. I know there are people who don't do this, and it just bangs my head against the wall. Review your utilities. I would suggest you go through Quidco, which is a cashback site. It pays you cashback when you go to their retailers, and use a company called USwitch. So go through Quidco and USwitch. You actually get paid for switching. So it's a win-win. You're up already. Now I have criteria for myself. We only use green energy when I switch. So I always make sure that I go with a green energy source, but I'll still shop around. And make sure that I can get the best green energy at the best price. It just makes sense. Number 3 on the list, review your TV packages. Okay, I see so many clients spend so much money on their, whatever it might be, their Sky, their Virgin Media or whatever. These things add up. Consider FreeSat or Freeview as a television package, and then if you really need some variety with extra channels, look at something like Netflix or Amazon Prime to boost it. The outcome here is to save some money so you can boost your retirement fund, because I want you to get at least another £100,000 in your retirement fund so you can really enjoy the cruising and the holidays or whatever your thing might be when you retire. If you're an avid reader, if you're number 4 on the list, sorry, if you're an avid reader, if you buy lots of books and stuff, consider your library. You know, you pay your taxes to have these services. Consider your library. Give them a call. See if they got the books in. You can do things online, I think, nowadays as well. But yeah, they got magazines in there, periodicals. They've got books, obviously. Go and rent the books. Read the books they've got there rather than buying them. Now, I'm slightly hypocritical here because I buy so many books. But to be fair, a lot of the books I buy aren't mainstream that people want to read. But yeah, go and check out the library. If there's savings to be done there, you certainly need to. And then number 5 on the list really is reserved for larger purchases or one-off purchases, not really groceries and things like that, but it's more sort of, you know, you're going to buy yourself a new laptop or a new bike or a new lawnmower or a new shed or whatever it might be, and you sort of shop around. Use the sites like Idealo. You know, Idealo is a fantastic site, and the nice thing about Idealo is that you can put a price alert in there. So if you're looking for a new camera, for example, okay, you find the camera that you really want, you've done your research, put it in Idealo, put in a price alert. Say, look, it's too much money now, but give me an alert when it hits this price. Idealo will alert you and let you know when it hits that price, so it's worthwhile and you get it at a decent price too. Okay, that's top 5. Main body of the news this week. What's been going on? What have they been writing about? What have they been telling you? Did you know November was probably the best month in the stock market for decades? Did anybody tell you that? Did you know that? Probably not. I didn't get it either. But yeah, November, the FTSE 100, which is the London top 100 largest companies, jumped 12.4% in November. The S&P 500, which is the equivalent in the States, but it's the 500 largest, jumped 10.8%. And the Euro Stock 50 jumped 18.1%. Now, that's the best 1 month gain in the FTSE since January 89 and the best 1 month gain in the S&P 500 since January 87. So why? What made them jump? Remember, you've learnt this by now. Markets don't like uncertainty. They like certainty. They don't like ambiguity. They want to know what's going on. It's like a spoiled child. Tell me and I'll respond. So during all the uncertainty with the US elections and then with the vaccine or the COVID trials, they didn't like that. In November, we got the confirmation of the US election. Okay, we got clarity, and we also got the vaccine results. They like that too. What else was announced? So the government are issuing an extra £1,000 grant for pubs predominantly servicing alcohol in tiers 2 and 3 because they're having a real tough time. And that goes in addition to the £3,000 monthly grant they're giving for businesses as well anyway. Okay, so a little bit more support there for the pub landlords. Not enough, I know, but at least we're getting a bit of support for them. Questions from listeners and readers this week. So I've been made redundant after 20 years. I really don't know what to do. Can you help? And you know what? I've got to say, yeah, we can help, but it's going to be go and get advice. You know, your redundancy package that you quoted me was quite considerable. It's over £30,000. Basically, the first £30,000 of redundancy payment is tax-free. Any excess is taxed. There are things, planning opportunities you can consider and look at that will mitigate or minimize this. It really makes sense for you to do that. So I could go on and tell you all the more here, but if I'm honest, it's going to be such restricted to such a few. Really, the outcome is this is a time to go and get advice. Go and see a certified financial planner. You can contact me and I can put you in touch with a directory, and yeah, they'll give you some good advice. Second question is, how much do I need in my pension fund to retire comfortably? Well, the thing is, I don't know how much you want to spend in your retirement years, and I don't know how long you're going to live. But ignoring how long you're going to live, let's assume you have a good ripe old age, and roughly how much you need in your pension fund is about 300 times your monthly income. So let me explain that. You need in your pension fund about 300 times the amount of income you want each month. So if you want £1,000 a month, you need about £300,000 in the pot to provide that. And that should last you about 40 or so years, 40 or 50 years. So it's going to be enough for most retirement years. Okay, so if you want £1,000 a month, about 300,000. Of course, if you need £2,000 a month, it's going to double that figure, 600,000. Okay, Smarter Spender. This part of the show is sponsored by Idealo, the price comparison website. And I put it in there because spending money is not bad, but spending other people's money and not being a conscious spender, I believe, is. So what's dipped in price this week? You got DLSR cameras, digital cameras, down 16% over last week. That's a big saving. But you know what? Road bikes down 22%. So make sure you get your road bikes sorted this week. Idealo think people are going to be buying home security cameras this week because they're cheaper than most times of the year. So in December, about £203 on average. They nudge up in January to 208, and the most expensive month is May at 245. So buying during the winter months is definitely a good deal. It could save you around about 20%, which is VAT, isn't it? So I have no idea why people fluctuate these prices. I think because new things come in and old things go out, and they just try and get the best of the deal, get rid of the old stock, that kind of thing. But also they think people are going to be shopping for games, both electronic games and board games. And one of the best-selling games they refer to is Twister, although it's probably not the best for social distancing, but it's a great game anyway. Hey, look, there's been a whistle-stop tour. Be a conscious spender. You've got any Christmas shopping left, do it intentionally. Use Idealo and shop around. Take my tips. If you get any questions, please shout out and let me know. I answer them all. And until next time, stay safe. Bye-bye.